Hey guys, Chris here from Cohesive Friendship Unit. I am with Jeremy,
Yo, what's up?
and today we are going to talk about Labo sales, specifically in Japan for their first week, and kind of compare them to God of War sales a little bit. But real quick, we appreciate any likes, subscribes, shares, get you a gold star. And I think that's all the bureaucracy out of the way. So, Japan, this comes from Media Crate, which historically tracks physical sales of video games in Japan. And we have the first week report for both God of War as well as Nintendo Labo, both varieties. So in first place for the week, Nintendo Labo Toy-Con 1 variety kit sold 90,400 units. God of War sold 46,000 units, coming in second. And Nintendo Labo Toy-Con 2 sold 28,500 units. So right off the bat, first place, Nintendo Labo Toy-Con 1, followed by God of War, followed by Toy-Con 2. To me, that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And real quick, Jeremy, if you had a PS4 and a Nintendo Switch, and all these products cost the same, which they do not, we'll get into that, which would you buy?
Or suppose that they were a gift. I could have one of them. I
Yeah.
couldn't resell it. I could have it for myself. I would choose God of War, no question.
Okay. Yeah, and to be fair, I voted with my wallet and did get God of War. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think I'm trying to decide if I don't know what I would do if I was younger, to be honest, but I considered buying both Toy-Con 1 and God of War, but it seems like a big financial stretch. I'm hoping to just get the software so I can do the garage, because that's all I really care about, for like $20. But regardless, so here we go. I'm just going to
The
throw...
people have correctly put Robot Kit in number 3. I think that's the right move. Good job, people of Japan.
Good job, people of Japan. I'm just going to throw a few more numbers real quick, and then I think we'll be totally done reporting weird figures. So as of December 2017, there have been 2.5 million Switches sold in Japan and 5.5 million PS4s sold in Japan. So there's a little under half of the number of Switches as there are PS4s. Another thing that kind of struck me as interesting is the price difference. God of War is the cheapest of these three. God of War is $60. Toy-Con 1 is $70. Toy-Con 2 is $80. They both came out on the same day. And I think the last thing that I should kind of say as a disclaimer is these are only physical numbers, and you can download God of War digitally. You cannot download Nintendo Labo digitally.
Yet.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to get those cardboard pieces to you. But yeah, that's kind of what we're working with. So I could see the argument of like, well, historically, digital sales at least make up 50% of units. That would still put God of War, it would put it over Nintendo Labo by like 1,000 units. And even then, that there are twice as many PS4s out in the wild. So that's still bizarre to me.
I think, to me, the answer is probably twofold. There are
Twofold?
significantly twofold.
Cardboard fold?
Cardboard folds, a corrugated fold. There are way more PS4s, but the PS4 has been out for much longer. So I think that one, there's probably like so for every individual Switch owner, right? It's a newer console, and the people who have them now are like relatively high intensity, high interest purchasers because it's a fairly new console. So I think their enthusiasm for like new Switch shit is probably higher than the PS4 market. If you have, more units sold, I think you inherently have more people who are like pretty laissez-faire, not necessarily going to pick up every new release. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one half of the equation. And then the other half of the equation, well, there's probably three halves to the equation. The second of the three halves is the relative importance of the Labo vis-a-vis God of War for like each console. Like Labo is like it seems, and it makes sense if you're a Switch owner, seems to be kind of like a big marquee, release. It's like a whole big add-on, and you got to make it, and you got to like put on your tinfoil hat. Whereas like God of War is just a game. It seems like a pretty big release, but like whatever. And then lastly, maybe people just really like the Labo, which is surprising to me. I think I've been the most Labo skeptic, and I didn't really think it was going to sell a lot. But maybe people are just super hype about getting some Lab.
And yeah, this is something I kind of wanted to touch on. You touched on it a little bit. This is realistically the first major release on Switch this year. I mean, we got Kirby Star Allies, which came in fourth, by the way. And aside from that, everything's pretty much been indie games, third-party games, or re-releases of Wii U games.
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, but again, like, this is very clearly targeting a different audience, like a very young audience. People,
well, I think
most people probably are not spending the $70 of their own money, would be my guess.
I disagree. I think that's how people have been reading it, but I would bet money that the majority of purchasers are like not kids.
Okay.
Like they're not 8. They're like however old they are, but they're not 8.
So
I guess.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, and again, you kind of touched on this, is I'm looking at the Metacritic scores of these two games right now. And God of War, not that Metacritic is the end-all be-all of life. And God of War...
I was laughing because Labo was a game.
Yeah, yeah. God of War did sell very well. I'm not trying to put it down. I'm surprised that it didn't beat the Switch. God of War has currently sitting at a 95 on Metacritic, which makes it the best PS4 exclusive by far. I mean, this is beating out the Last of Us remake. This is beating out the Uncharted 4 and all the other Uncharted games that are on the platform. This is beating out Horizon Zero Dawn. This is beating out Shadow of the Colossus. This is like, for a system where everyone is kind of hailing the first-party exclusives, this is, on Metacritic, the best one. Whereas Nintendo Labo is sitting at a healthy 77, which isn't bad, but it's just interesting. And the God of War review embargo lifted weeks ago. This is well known that this was a game to get. So why do you think that Labo just kind of... Also, this is another thing. There's 2 Labo kits. So to an extent, you're cannibalizing your audience. To an extent. Why do you think that it just kind of ran away?
So that's a good question. So I gave a few reasons why I think that it ran away. I think it's a high-profile release for the Switch, which I think you correctly pointed out hasn't had a really high-profile release so far yet this year. I think that Switch owners are still thirsty for new content. If you own a Switch, you can play... We've talked about this a lot. You can play Mario 8 Deluxe. You can play Mario Odyssey, which has been out for some time. You can play Zelda, which has been out for some time. And you can play some indie shit. So like this is a big release if you're a Switch owner. And then I think lastly, something that I hadn't touched on yet, but this is also the Japanese market, which I think, is a little different than maybe other markets that we're going to see. The Japanese market has a real enthusiasm for Nintendo products that I don't think is mirrored as strongly in other areas. Like the Wii U sold significantly better in Japan. Like it sold a little bit. Yeah. And the Switch sold much faster. The Switch has sold very fast overall, but it still, the Japanese market ate it up the fastest. For reference point, and I have a lot of tabs open, so I'm trying to find the right thing. To give you a sense of a different, big title that released on PS4 in their first week sales. So our first week sales for God of War are 46,000 units. Our first week sales for Star Wars Battlefront 2 in Japan, according to VG Charts. Hold on. My bad. This was global. Japan. First week sales were 36,000 units for PlayStation 2. Granted, that was a pretty damaged title. I was just trying to think of something that was definitely, had a lot of momentum behind it.
Yeah.
And that was one. By comparison, Splatoon 2 in its 18th week in Japan was still selling 27,000 units a week. So I think that goes to some of the difference in what purchasers in Japan are kind of looking for. They're more likely to go towards Labo. God of War was selling it seems like it was selling better in the UK, where it was at the top of the charts. Granted, Labo wasn't included on that chart, and we don't have raw sales figures, but we do know that it had outsold on physical sales alone. It had outsold first week sales of God of War 3 by around 35%. So that was kind of a lot of gobbledygook.
Yeah.
But so I don't think it's all necessarily that people are like super enthused for Labo per se. I think the audiences are different. I think the markets are different. I think the consoles and where they are in their lifespans are different. But I do also think that people are really attracted to this idea of something just different from Nintendo. And again, I think as with everything Switch, Nintendo had a phenomenal marketing campaign behind this product.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, again, yeah, personally, like, if they released just the Garage software for like $30, I would totally buy it, 100%. Just the programming aspect, for one, because I do that for a job, and two, because I'm a little older and don't necessarily like. I like the piano and I like the RC car, but I don't think I get much use out of the house. And the fishing probably, again, not for me. But I don't know. It's congratulations, Nintendo. Your system is bizarre and it is doing so well.
Yeah. And when you also consider, I mean, we kind of pointed at the difference in cost in terms of consumer preferences, but if you're Nintendo, right, and you just sold essentially, more than 100,000 units at $80 a pop.
Well, that one was 70, but yeah.
Okay, but that's still pretty lucrative. Like, you're making a lot of money back on each of those units.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is crazy. Okay, well, I think we covered everything. It's a lot to talk about. Interesting seeing two kind of titans fight it out on 420.
Blaze it up.
Blaze it up. Let us know down below, would you guys, given that you have a Switch and a PS4, would you guys buy a Nintendo Labo, either of them, or would you buy God of War? Assuming they're the same price, yeah, assuming you get them as a gift and you can't resell it. Which one would you opt in for?
You get one and you get it for keeps.
Yeah. Let us know down below. And again, we really appreciate any kind of support, be it a like, be it a sub, be it a share, be it all three. So leave us what you will, and we will catch you guys in the next one.